To grab your pen and paper before we dive right in. Perfect. Welcome everyone to American Family Insurance DreamBank, where we believe in the transformative power of dreams. I'm Madeline, and I'm so excited to have you with us today. Here at American Family Insurance, we believe communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. That's why we created DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and digital experience dedicated to dreamers everywhere. From our daily event series to immersive signature programs, there's something for every dreamer. Our always free offerings are designed to help you celebrate your dream journey, overcome obstacles, and stay motivated. Now, I'd like to introduce you to today's speaker, Ann Imig, an MSW and certified coach. Ann helps burned out moms regain their mojo, crush their goals, and fuel their joy at home and work. In 2010, she created the storytelling series and then book titled Listen to Your Mother. Take it away, Ann.
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, DreamBank, for connecting dreamers to resources to make their dreams come true. That's what we're going to do in real time today. My name is Ann Imig, and I help people disrupt from that dominant negative stress channel in our left brain that you've probably heard a lot about, and it makes the hard things in life so much harder. And instead, I help people grow the area of their brain where calm, creativity, laser focused, clear headed action, and joy live. And we're going to do that today in real time. So, I coach from positive psychology, which is the study of what works and how to get more of that in life. And today I'm using a tool from Whole Being Institute called the Goal Map. You're going to be making one of your own. And I'm also going to be pulling from positive intelligence, which is a specific tool to help people grow their right brain. And you can find out more about that at positiveintelligence.com. So what we're going to do today is you are going to have a rough sketch to activate a dream or goal of yours. And I hope you can bring forward today a really meaningful goal that you can dig into over the next weeks, months, or even years. So make sure that you have something to write with or sketch out. You're just going to get a rough sketch going today. Maybe it's on paper, maybe it's on an iPad. And the whole idea is that after today, you maybe go to your favorite office supply store, you maybe get a brand new whiteboard, maybe you get a bunch of collage. You want a living, breathing map in your space that you're going to see every day, that's going to light you up with excitement, and that you can change things around, make it adjustable and moldable. Maybe you get every kind of post-it note you've ever dreamed of and all the different shapes. And I'm going to use one of my own goals as an example to walk you through the steps. Now, if you feel like this is going too fast or too slow, you're going to have access to the slides. So no worries about that. And there's also going to be a video of this that you can watch later and revisit some of these things. And I'm also going to offer you an opportunity to connect with me one-on-one to move your goal map forward. So first of all, what you might or might not know is that the pursuit of goals is very good for our own well-being. People often become so afraid of failing to meet their goal that they don't get started. When in reality, every step we make along the process, it activates that dopamine, that pleasure center in our brain. And even a little bit of progress, it leads to more progress. And everything I'm sharing today is neuroscientific and research backed. So you can have confidence that this tool is real. It might feel like magic, but it's real. So before we get started, I'm going to tell you what to expect today. If you can minimize your distractions, I know you're probably on your lunch break. If you can, silence your notifications, do whatever you can, close your office door so that you can really focus in for the next hour or however long we have together. And we're going to start with 2 minutes of getting really grounded in our senses. I'm going to lead you through what are called PQ reps. PQ is positive intelligence. Maybe some of you are familiar with this. Reps, like you go to the gym and you do reps to build your muscles. These are reps to build your right brain. And what that's going to do is it can going to prime your right brain that we're going to be tapping into today and help you really focus and disrupt the stress that might be going on. Because when we name a big goal or dream that we've had pressing on our hearts for years, it can be frightening. And so I want to really commend everyone for showing up today and honoring yourself and your dream. If you have any questions, just add them to the chat and I'll try to remember to check in with Maddie, but I also invite her to interrupt me with your questions. You don't have to wait until the end. Um, with that, I think we'll just get started. So I'm going to invite everybody to close their eyes, or if you feel more comfortable, you can just pick a soft point of focus. This is a little bit of a grounding exercise for 2 minutes, and then I'm going to lead you into a light contemplation from there. So for now, if you're sitting down, just feel the weight underneath you. Feel your feet on the ground, or if you're sitting cross-legged, tucked underneath you. If you're standing, just allow your weight to be evenly distributed and become aware of your breathing in and out just effortlessly, really focusing on the inhalation and the exhalation and how that moves effortlessly your chest and stomach. And just let go of any thoughts you're having. It's totally normal. And now allow each of the next 3 breaths to be deeper and slower than the one before it. And just letting go of any thoughts you're having. Take 2 fingers and feel the fingertip ridges on each finger. And if you can't feel your fingertip ridges, feel alongside the edge of your fingernail, just feeling sensations deeply on both fingers. And now I invite you to take the fingertips of one hand and feel the fingertips and palm of the other, noticing all of those sensations, all the different textures, temperature differences, maybe different areas of sensitivity on your hands. And notice your fingers on your hand and your hand on your fingers. And now rub your hands together and listen to the sound that makes and notice the change in temperature. And now you can let your hands rest. Let go of any thoughts you're having and listen for the farthest away sound you can hear. What's the farthest away sound you can hear? And now listening for the closest sound you can hear. Maybe sounds inside your own body, like you're breathing. And then finally, when you inhale, notice the temperature of the air as you inhale through your nose and how the temperature of the air changes when you exhale through your nose. And now just noticing how you feel now that we've done some of those PQ reps, how you felt before and how you felt after. And if there's any of those that you particularly liked, just notice which one of those were. And now I'm just going to ask you to imagine a future you, weeks, months, or a couple of years from now, and you have achieved this goal that we're going to begin mapping today. I want you to imagine you, this future you, having achieved the goal and having learned new information, met new people, had all of these different experiences, some ups, some downs, some big challenges, some wonderful surprises. Maybe there were certain people or events who helped or inspired you along the way. Even if you can't see anything as a visual, just imagine and notice how you feel in your body having completed this journey and celebrating that you made real this goal, this dream that you've had for yourself. And that even from the setbacks, that you grew new muscles, how this strengthened you, how you recovered from little setbacks or disappointments, or even big ones, more quickly than you would have predicted. So just take another few moments connecting with this future you who has made this goal real as we begin to play with the map in earnest right now. This is your bare bones map if you want to open your eyes if you haven't. And I'm going to give you a couple minutes to sketch out these sort of 6 lily pads moving up. And I'm going to use a real goal of my own in real time. So I could have just picked a goal I've already achieved and listed it for you, but I really wanted to, as much as I could, put myself where you're sitting today at the beginning. And what I'm going to use for myself is a goal around performing. I recently reconnected with acting, which was one of my early adulthood, um, one of my first jobs and passions in life. And I got back on stage with a wonderful theater company in an incredible role last year. And it actually took me many years to make that happen. And there were many twists and turns along the way. And now I want to do it again. So I'm going to have a whole new process for myself and explain it to you as I go. So it starts with, what is your goal? And I hope you can make this as meaningful and robust for yourself as possible. And there's one more caveat. Don't make your goal something that entirely rests on outcomes beyond your control. So instead of my goal being, I want another role with a professional company that I love, I can't fully control that. So my goal is a rich, rewarding, performing opportunity with kind, professional, talented collaborators. This leaves it open. And so I'm just going to guess, maybe for some of you, you want to run a race, right? But instead of your goal being, I want to finish in the top 10 for my age group, you can't control how fast everybody else runs. But you can say, I want to set a personal record for myself, or I want to run the entire way without walking. That's something that you can train for. So hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Let this goal, you can make it a big dream, but make it a dream that you have control over whether you complete it. Well, of course, barring anything unforeseen. And that's why we want this to be a flexible map, that if there is an injury or an illness or a setback, it doesn't take you all the way back to square one. And that leads to knowing your why for your goal. This is a real touchstone as you start doing the work of having a dream come true. You will always go back and make sure every step is resonating with your why. So for me, this is not about applause. This is not about being able to say, wow, I did it. I got to be on that stage that I've dreamed of being on. Yeah, that's amazing if that happens. But if that were the whole why for me, then the minute I didn't get the role, it'd be over. My why is fun. It is hard to figure out how to have fun in adult life for a lot of people. And I know the creative collaboration with other people, I have fun, I have joy. It raises my zest in my life. And it's so creatively fulfilling. It makes me feel most like myself. And why is it important right now? Might be another layer that you add. And for me, my husband and I were encroaching on our empty nester years, and I want to dive into things that make me come alive. So I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes and let you start to write down your goal and your why. And if at any point you have questions, just put them in the chat and Maddie will speak up and interrupt me. And give you one more minute to work on your goal and your why. What are the reasons and the motivations, the benefits to you of pursuing this goal? None of this is about perfection. If you don't have all the answers today, this is just a beginning. And you'll see the what at the top sort of lily pad here. So, as I spoke about earlier, my what is a wonderful role or a delightful project. So, I left this expansive enough so that if I don't get a wonderful role, right, that's beyond my control. You know what? Theaters might not be doing any shows that I'm right for. Also, there are incredibly talented people in this town, lots of them. So, I might be perfect for a role and not get it. But if I put a delightful project as a possible goal attainment for this project, maybe I create something on my own. Okay, and moving on for the sake of time, don't worry if it feels too fast. You can use the slides, you can revisit the video. Let's start with what we already have in place. I'm going to give you 5 minutes for this part. What's already is in place is your first stepping stone or lily pad. Um, Everything you already have in place from your progress to date, your education, your expertise, your support network, your strength, your talents, your excitement about this, all of your previous experience, resources, supplies, everything you have in place. You can start an additional list right now as you're just sketching these out and journal. What's everything I already have in place? The people in my life, all the past experience that I bring to activating this goal. So I'll be quiet for the next 4 or 5 minutes. and let you list or think about everything you have in place. And I'll show you my own examples of what I already have in place. I already have audition cuts selected so that I can audition for the season coming up. I have coaches that can help me with my monologues or my singing. I have an updated resume because I worked for years to get this past role with a current company, which shows that yes, I can do a run of 18 shows. People can count on me. I have patience and positivity from the mental fitness habits, this boosting my right brain that I practice every day that allow me to stay curious and calm instead of afraid and having my inner critic dominate my giving up. I have supportive family and friends who want to see my goals come true. And I'm sure you have supportive people in your own life. Include them and what's in place. So, 2 more minutes on this. And Maddie, I don't want to check the chat because I don't want it to mess with my screen sharing. Let me know if there are any questions.
No questions at this point. Oh,
Great.
yes, one just popped in. What does HS mean?
Oh, updated resume and headshot. Sorry. So I'm glad you asked because investing in our own dreams sometimes means money and resources. So I have current headshots, which is important for an actor. You need a picture that represents you, and I had one taken by I paid a photographer to take one, and I have that ready. So even small details that show your readiness. Maybe it's that you went and got fitted for the right pair of running shoes. Maybe it's that you went and cleaned out your fridge and filled it with healthy food to start meal planning. I mean, the sky's the limit, but thank you for asking that. Okay, so finishing up this, what we have in place, let's give you a few more seconds. And the next sort of 4 lily pads between what we have in place and where we're trying to go, these might just be stabs in the wind for you today. You might really not know, and just make it a best guess. And again, I'm going to show you mine in case it's helpful. And the blue, these little blue capsules are going to be assigning a timeline. So I'm giving myself 18 months from February 2025 to figure out how I'm going to get myself back on stage. And here's what my lily pads look like. And again, I'm going to give you a full 5 minutes um, to assign these next four, but let me go over for you what I have. So this spring, the theater companies will announce their upcoming season, which they do like a year in advance, and I'll get to see, are there any shows that I'd be a good fit for? And I will sign up for auditions. I've already signed up for an auditions that's going to happen in about a week. So that's going to be my next step and preparing for those auditions. So I'm ready. That'll be spring. In summer, I will have found out, were there any shows that were right for me? Did I get any callbacks? If I get callbacks, I might be preparing for callbacks. And this might be where I really need to change my goal map. It might be that I spend weeks preparing for callbacks. Last summer's audition process actually went on for months. So that really would change the way this looks. Or maybe I don't get any callbacks. And then what I've decided I'm going to do, I'm going to explore classes in the area. I'm going to explore, start networking with collaborators, other creative people that I might love to create something, some sort of performance with. I might just go and see what other creative people are doing in the area, go to storytelling shows, go to see, different singer-songwriters, go to see different local community theater and start to really have a curious sort of exploring mindset about, I wonder what is possible. And then that would bring me to fall 2025. And again, Maddie, if there are questions, just interrupt me. Um, where I'm either, maybe I'm rehearsing and performing for a role that I got. And this takes my map in a little bit of a different direction. I might need to invest in coaching as I did last year to help me beyond just working in the rehearsal space and beyond just working with a director. I might want my own coaching. I might need to spend time every day learning lines or researching my character. I also want to savor and celebrate every step along the way. As you find yourself on each lily pad, I want you to share with somebody in your life. I want you to pick a song and dance to it. Whatever you can do to really acknowledge and celebrate each step forward is so important for your brain. Like we talked about earlier, progress begets more progress. Priming your right creative brain and celebrating as you're making progress will only help it easier to go forward. So in the fall of 2025, I will have either be rehearsing and performing this new role and savoring it and engaging in the new connections I've made with other castmates, or I'm going to choose one of the ideas that I thought about in the summer to move it forward. And then by Q1 of 2026, I'm either auditioning again because I had a great role and I want to do that again, or I say, you know what? I'm reevaluating now, and doing classes really just scratches that itch. I don't need to come up with another show. I don't need to create my own new opportunity. I just love taking that improv class. That is totally satisfying my fun and zest and creativity. Or I'm picking that, even I'm taking that idea that germinated in the fall and I'm running with it. And I might be starting a whole new map for that of like, I'm going to start this whole new show. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remember what worked in the past as I have developed my own one woman show. I have developed a live storytelling series and really dig into remembering what worked for me then that I can carry forward now. So that 18 months from now, I have satisfied my goal of another wonderful role or a brand new, exciting, delightful project. Or somewhere along the way, I realized I love taking classes. That is bringing me joy. That is a big check marks. That's just a few ideas of how this could look for me. And now I'm going to be quiet, answer any questions, and let you take the next 5 or so minutes to put something in each lily pad These will change. It's okay. Today's just a rough sketch. And keep in mind that these big steps between your starting point and your destination, eventually each lily pad is going to be broken down into smaller steps that feel doable. So don't let any of this intimidate or scare you. And if you already have some ideas of what some of those smaller steps might be, just list them underneath the lily pad or designate a page in your notebook for each step. I'm gonna give you about 3 more minutes.
We had one question come through. Is there a blank lily pad page in the handout?
Yep, the first one.
Perfect.
And then you'll also get, yep, you'll be able to see each point along the way.
And there is one other one that I missed somehow, but how would you map if you had more than one goal? Or do you just focus on one goal working towards the next goal?
Yes, yes. And I mean, you can have multiple goal maps working at once for different areas of your life. And I also want to say, don't throw away these maps when you achieve your goal. And I'll talk about later why that's so important because when we talk about the study of what works, when you've activated a goal map, it worked for you. And later you want to go back to remember, wait, how did that work for me? So I can apply it to this other goal map. Um, and I would encourage you, start with one goal map at a time. And please let me know if this is going way too fast, way too slow, and I'll do my best to pivot, even though we have a lot to go over. And keep in mind, this could be a 6 week goal map, or it could be a 3 year goal map. The idea is to have some idea of where you're going and when, knowing you will pivot as you go. Because each time we move forward, we find out new information that changes things a little bit.
Okay, so I actually saw a few more questions come through in the questions tab,
Great.
not in the chat. Um,
Okay.
so uh you may be planning to discuss this, but can you talk briefly about some tips for when you have to unexpectedly pivot from your goal due to rejection, life interruptions, etc.?
Yes. Yes. So we're going to actually talk next about planning and anticipating for when things get hard. And people, there have been whole studies about this. People overestimate how long it's going to take them to recover from a setback or a quote unquote failure. And our brains, our negative dominant brains, use this as an excuse to not get started. So we're going to normalize these challenges are going to come up and how we're going to address them when they do. That's going to be part of what we do next.
Okay, one question that piggybacks off of that is how do you determine time frame?
Right now, it's just best guess. And again, you can change it. It's just going to depend when your goal is. If you have a race date, then you're going to know when your race is and have to plan out going backward. Um, so I just would say best guess based on what you think feels doable to you. So much of goal attainment is making this feel doable. So if you put a timeline that feels scary or like too much pressure, loosen it a little. And if you're afraid to put any timeline down at all, that is likely just your fear talking, in which case I'm going to challenge you. Put down a timeline and know if you don't reach that goal exactly when you're going to reach it, it's not a failure. It just means that you might need to make a little bit of a change.
Okay, one last question before I let you move on. Now that I've discovered the questions tab and not just looking through the chat, but I might be struggling to make sure my goal is not too broad, but I don't want to make it too narrow either. Mine is specifically about getting healthy, but I don't want to tie it to a number on a scale, for example.
Great. So, what if you went with when it's a health goal? What if you started measuring your days in terms of how much energy you are feeling day to day, how tired you are? Um, maybe it's time boxing it. Like, I'm going to take a 20-minute walk every day and see what happens. Maybe it's a curiosity goal where you're going to journal how you feel on the days that you woke up and you did some stretching, on the days that you didn't. You're going to be a fascinated anthropologist around your health. So there's a lot of ways that you can move a goal forward and measure without it being beyond your control or something that's going to set you up for disappointment. The more curious and expansive you can be, I hope that was helpful. And I love your questions. Whenever somebody asks the question, it helps me broaden beyond what I've set out for you here, and it might really help somebody else. So I welcome your questions and I thank you for your questions. And I think I will keep us moving along for the sake of time, especially since somebody just asked about that.
One question. Do you want me
Yeah,
to put the slides in the chat now since people have been asking me about them, or do you
yeah,
still want me to wait?
absolutely.
Okay, I will do that for everyone.
Great. Okay. This is where things get really interesting. And I'm trying to make it so my toolbar is not showing, but I think it'll just disappear in a second. Um, Helpers, stress points, knowledge gaps, learning plans, and key decisions. This is where we're going to get into some of the more sticky places. But first, those little stars are helpers. And I want you to take a few minutes to either list or put them on your map with little happy faces or stars, specific people in your life that support you, whose eyes light up when they see you coming, who are going to be your cheerleaders around this specific goal. Habits you already have that are going to help you. Maybe you're an early riser, and so you know that having time to work on your goal in the morning is going to work great for you. Maybe it's a strength of yours. Maybe you are great at teamwork and you're going to find other people who are working on their goals to team up with. An accountability buddy is huge for the likelihood of attaining your goal. Even if it's somebody who lives across the country that you can text every day with your word count. Maybe you have a dream of writing a book. And guess what? The goal isn't to get a book published with X publisher, because that's beyond your control. The goal is have a book ready for publication, because that means you are doing your job. You might self-publish it. You might find that dream publisher, but the goal is having that book ready. So just take a minute or two and write down as many helpers as you can. Resources, pleasures, people, support, strength, anything inside you or outside of you that helps you toward your goal. Maybe you have a little nest egg of cash that is going to help you help pay for a class. Maybe you know somebody who you bet would be willing to invest in your incredible idea. Maybe it's time. Maybe you have Maybe you have an empty nest now. Maybe you have all of a sudden something has opened up in your life where you have more time. So just take a moment and list all these helpers or catalysts. And then, yes, let's pick a couple of stress points. It can really help to acknowledge these in advance and think about how you'll approach them. So I'll use myself as an example again. You'll see these stress points here in the summer after I've done my auditions, and maybe I fell in love with the role. Maybe I had an audition that went so well, and then I didn't even get a call back. This just happened. I walked out of an audition thinking I killed it. And that night I found out I didn't even get a call back. And how did I recover? Well, self compassion, for one thing. I really took a moment to thank myself for my bravery and for my preparation that enabled me to be ready and be in the right mindset to walk into that audition and kill it. And what I didn't do to myself is say, wow, I must have had that all wrong. No, I know it went well. And I also know I just wasn't right for that show or that part. Or there were five other people that were, what they had in mind already. Or maybe they even knew already who they were going to have in one of the roles that I wanted. So I let myself be sad, like disappointment, but not beating myself up. Trusting my path, and that every time that there's a so-called failure, it's like dirty exercise clothes in the laundry. This is another one for the person around the health goal, or like if it's a getting active goal. My favorite thing is when I do laundry and I have a lot of clean gym clothes, because that just shows I did my work. It's not about the scale. It's not about my size. It's not about, I wish I could touch my toes more easily. It's that I am doing my part in it. So it's actually celebrating even the failures. I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but failure is showing you you are doing your part, that you are out there instead of letting fear stop you. And you can learn something from every failure. And in my case, this theater didn't even know me. And I was on purpose limiting my options. I only wanted one of a couple of roles. And that's a big ask for a theater that doesn't know you. So maybe that's the learning next time. Maybe I don't limit myself in that way, but I also don't regret it because I trust myself. So anyway, back to if I don't have any roles this summer, then it's gonna be a little bit of a harder lift to be in charge of my own creativity and learning. And just even by thinking about this in advance and saying like, okay, if I fall in love with the role and I won't get it, it will be disappointing. But I also just know sometimes these things take time and that my loving theater and loving collaborating with other people doesn't have to depend on one thing. I do a fun podcast with friends so that I have guaranteed fun every 2 weeks. It's pronounced memoir, Memwah, and it's just three Gen Xer. The three of us, we're friends. We talk about celebrity memoirs. There is no out external goal for me. I knew that I wanted to do this for fun so that when the other projects on my goal map that are not in my control don't happen maybe the way I would like them, I have creativity built into my life and I have the capability to build more creativity in my life. So I will remember when I don't get what I wanted, I will think back, how have I done this before? How have I moved myself forward? And I will tap into my strengths, my love of other creative people, and I will become a fascinated anthropologist. Okay, it's not going to be a show. What's it going to be? Another one is going to be in Q1 of 2026 when I've outlined, all right, it's time for me to make a choice. Am I going to further develop? Am I going to do my own show? Am I going to start a different podcast? And maybe I find a great class. But if I have something working, it might take a leap for me to decide I'm really going to do it. And that's when I'll call in extra resources. So I'm planning now, I might need to call in my own coach at that time to help me plan it out, to help me find my courage. And I will pull out old goal maps and I will realize that took so much guts to establish my own coaching practice. And you know what? I didn't start finding business success until I invested in a course. And I'll remember, how can I invest in this show to move it forward? I hope any of this is resonating with you. Looking from within yourself and your own past, what has worked for you when things have gotten hard holds great clues as to what's going to work moving forward. And you'll also see right here, I put in some knowledge gaps um, about, what classes are those going to be? What project am I going to do? And there's books here. Maybe I take a playwriting class, right? I haven't really tried playwriting. Maybe that's what I want to do. Maybe it's not even about performing. Maybe I start having coffee dates with other creative people in town and find out what they're working on. Maybe it doesn't have to come from me. And this key is a key decision. I'm going to go back one slide so you can see what these all stand for. And let me check in with time. Oh, it always goes so fast. Okay, I want to do one more little contemplation for you. You're going to have these slides, okay? These are just the pieces of the slides, and I wanted to go over them with you. But I want to do a little contemplation with you so that you know how to move forward when things get stuck. So if you will just pause from your goal map and again, close your eyes or pick a soft point of focus. I'm going to help you reignite that positive brain by doing a couple PQ reps, just feeling your fingertips on both fingers. Try to feel the fingertip ridges on both fingers. For 3 breaths, feel the temperature of the air as you inhale and how it changes when you exhale. And then I want you to picture yourself when you are in a state of flow. And what I mean by that is when you are completely unaware and uncaring about other people's thoughts and opinions, you are deeply engrossed in an activity or with another person. Time seems to stand still, or hours fly by like minutes, and you are deeply contented and energized by what is happening or what you are doing. Maybe this is a childhood memory of yourself at play. Maybe it's a recent project that just lit you up. And just notice that feeling in your body. And it's okay when I say visualize. If you don't see anything in your head, that's fine. But maybe you remember a time and you could start to identify what those strengths are. What are you doing where you feel effortlessly in flow and like you just being you? And maybe you remember a time where you overcame a big hurdle when you were working toward a goal or making a dream come true and it didn't work out. If you've lived this long, you've gone through a lot and there are lessons there. What has helped you in the past to recover from a disappointment and help you find your way back to the path moving forward? Was it a person? Was it developing a new skill or new education? Just see what comes to you. Maybe you want to jot down a few notes if anything came to you. But really, when you get stuck and when you get afraid, do some of these PQ reps. Notice what worked for you, the feeling of your fingers or the listening for sounds, because those literally disrupt the stress channel in your brain, connect you to the part of your brain where calm, creativity, and intuition live, and give you more choices in real time for how to move forward. Celebrate each little win. I keep a long list of process wins. Not, you don't just wait until the completion of the goal to celebrate. Celebrate often in little ways by hugging yourself or cheering or putting on your hype song. Share this goal map with someone in your life, your partner, your friend, and savor the journey with them. This is what I'm working on. This is my goal. This is how I'm going to get there. You won't believe. I just had such a setback. I thought it was going to crush me, but I learned something really important. If you want to figure out what your strengths are to call upon them, and Maddie, you can put this in the chat, viacharacter.org. VIA, V as in Victor, values in action. VIA character.org can help you identify your strengths. And you can always remember a hurdle that you've gotten through in the past and list out for yourself, how did I get through that? Really try to remember who helped you? How did you help yourself? And how can you maybe apply that to what you're going through now? And then as we take more questions, I would love feedback from you using this QR code about how this goal mapping session went. And you'll also have an opportunity to meet with me on your individual goal map for free, no strings attached. I just want to leave time for questions. I know Maddie's going to want to do a wrap up, and I want to make it as easy as possible for you to take each step and ask yourself, how can I make it a little more enjoyable or a little more meaningful? And that's how you get to your goal, one baby micro step at a time.
Wonderful. I have my eyes on the questions. I don't see any popping in. I know I identified with a few of you were like, how do you choose which goal to pick? When I
Mm.
started, I discovered that I had like 7 goals that I wanted to work on. And so then I was like, just pick one. So I smiled. Perfect. Could you send us the link? Because my mobile phone won't scan the code. Um, do you have
Yes, there's also a link right here, talk.ac/Ann Imig.
perfect.
That's talk.ac/ANNIMIG. And the code is listen.
Wonderful. I don't see any questions coming through. I absolutely adored this. And one thing too, I have a more of a creative fun goal. And in big letters across my notepad, I said, let it be fun. And I have a
Yes.
tendency to, mine's around writing, and 250 words is my like goal a day. But sometimes I'm like, well, 500. I could be done in 6 months, like 1,000, 3 months, and then it's no longer enjoyable. And so I did
Yes.
keep that at the top of my goal map, is like the actual goal of this is to bring joy to my life. And so if I'm making things to the point where like it's difficult or I'm white knuckling more days than not, then I maybe need to readjust. So I did write that reminder for
And
myself.
let me just yes and this because it might be helpful for others. Another thing you can do is say no less than and no more than. So people who tend to overachieve and burn themselves out, it could be no less than 250 words a day, no more than 350. Even if you're on a roll, you're like, nope, this is where I stop.
Okay, that's it. That is a nice little reminder. So there is an email being sent out in 4 minutes with just our survey link. But the slides are not able to be attached through DreamBank. So if you are having, or through Eventbrite, so if you're having issues with the slides, feel free either to reach out to Anne. I don't know if you want to pop your email in the chat,
Let
or
me stop my, well, I don't want to stop the share because people might still
um,
be using the code, but let me put it in the chat.
but you are also able to reach out to the DreamBank mailbox, dreambank@amfam.com, and I can send them to you. So whichever one of us feels better to reach out to, I will.
Here's my site. Here's my email. And I will also put the link to the feedback survey where you can get, actually, I'm just going to put my Calendly link. No, what am I going to do? I'm going to put this in.
Perfect. I do not have the link to the slides because it was a PDF. So if you need, if you're on your phone,
Let me
just
see if I can grab that. Let me see if I can
oh,
grab that. Share. There's so much going on.
perfect. I just stopped the screen share. But thank you everyone
Okay.
for participating and joining. Feel free to stay on the call, though no questions came for the if you're having issues with some of the links and stuff. If you want to still access the chat with the links, that would be fabulous.
I shared a Canva link. Hopefully you can see that. And the lily pad is in the link, but it's really just 6 circles up for the very basic form. Thank you so much for joining everybody. I know your time is so valuable. This was super fun. I know it was a lot, but I hope you got some little nugget at least that was valuable, even if it was just a little PQ reps that can help you disrupt that stress and find more calm in your day. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, DreamBank.
Until next time, friends. Bye.